Hey everyone, it's Milo here for the Fellowship of Acoustics and welcome to a new episode of New Arrivals. We're shooting this today on, we call it Pinksteren, Tweede Pinksterdag. I think internationally we call it Whit Monday. So that means there's no one here at the office. Come have a look. It's completely clean and empty. So we have all the space that we need today to pick some new guitars for this episode of New Arrivals. So as always, we have Maiko behind the camera over there. We're going to have a look around, see what's in store for us. We're going to pick our 4 favorites and then it's up to you to pick your favorite of the week. You can do that by leaving a comment down below, and we also have a poll in the community side of our YouTube page. Last week you all chose the 0021 from 46, which was a beautiful vintage Martin guitar. Though we also had a beautiful OM2 Hill Country, the new Hill Countries by Colling. So go check them out, we have them in store. Beautiful, amazing guitars. Yeah, let's dive in right away. Let's go.
Let's go.
Seeing that we're talking about the year 1946, I've actually spotted a guitar from the same year. Though this time it's not a Martin, but a Gibson guitar. It's a 46 J45. Whoa, okay. So yeah, the tag here said that it was stripped, and now I see what they mean. Have a look at this, almost sort of walnutty. So the finish is completely stripped of this 1946 J45. So last week we were talking about the 330 that came in, that reminded us of the 330 D fin that completely was removed of every finish that it originally had. This is a J45 D fin in my opinion. Also the logo, it's barely noticeable that it's even there. This looks like a guitar that's in the corner of a barn somewhere that somebody picked up and said, wow, it's a J45, let's sell it. So 46, the first year after the banner has been removed, only a Gibson is good enough. It's hard to tell what was on this headstock, but there was no banner, I can tell you. And it's actually, in 47 was the first year that the J50 was announced, so the natural version of the J45. So it's in between those years. Yeah, this one has been played. Maybe it did have a volume knob as well, which we see more often. I think most people that do this to a guitar will regret it someday because they mostly get filled up. We don't ever see vintage guitars with a volume knob on them anymore, right?
Nope, not really.
All have been removed. So let's check the sound of this one. I don't know how this sound will translate over to YouTube, but man, I like this a lot. This is the classic, the staple J45 sound to me. It's dry and woody. It's really easy to play. I really like this J45. Maybe if I would choose this, then we will do a professional demo, let's say. But if not, we also do some demos on demand. So you can always reach out to us. If there's a guitar that you see somewhere on our website, just send us an email, send us a chat on the website, and we can make a demo for you. So man, this is really cool though. And maybe that Gibson is a nice segue into this Iris guitar. Iris guitar, they make really good, great value Gibson-esque guitars. We're really big fans of them. I believe this is a new model. This is called, yeah, it's the DWH in a Ice Tea Burst Relic. Man, with a magnificent pickguard, if you ask me. Check that out. That's really cool. So DWH stands for Dreadnought Will Hilton, and Will Hilton is actually the CNC expert over at Iris Guitars. So it's a signature guitar for one of their employees, which I think is really cool. This is their first square shoulder Dreadnought. So this is a take on a Gibson guitar that's also been produced by Gibson throughout the years. And I think a square shoulder Dreadnought, but then in a Gibson style, is a really cool look to me. So you also have a longer scale length, so where most other Gibson guitars will have a 24.9 inch scale length. This is a 25.5. You have mahogany, back and sides. Your Sitka spruce top, a beautiful Ice Tea Burst with a quite understated relic. So it's more sort of the crackling in the finish, but not a, there's no keychain that's been on the top of this, luckily. Next to that we have Indian Rosewood fingerboard and also the Indian Rosewood bar bridge. And I think it's nice to mention, I was looking up some of the specs on this one, and Iris themselves, they say the DWH produces strong and focused tonal qualities. Anyway, like I was saying, the DWH produces strong and focused tonal qualities. Iris's take on a classic proves to be bold and sturdy, just like Will Hilton. I think that's nice.
Will sounds like a nice guy.
Picture of Will. So let's check it out. I'm quite interested in this. Let me play sort of a similar thing that I just played. Really nice. Like the sound of this as well. So when playing it, I feel that it's a little bit tighter. So the 25.5 inch kill length would explain that. It's not as loose feeling as the J45, but it's really projecting a lot more, I think. So whereas the J45 might be a really nice recording guitar, this is really filling up the room, and it's got a nice high end to it as well, which the J45 was a little bit lacking of. So I really like this. Really cool that Iris is producing this this model, the square shoulder dreadnought, with the coolest pickguard of the day, at least. So these 4 cases really piqued my interest. They are really similar cases, they have really similar prices. So let's see. Oh, these are the new iconic guitars. So we have a lot of iconic guitars over the Fellowship, but these are really iconic. Branded iconic. So let's see if they are as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, Michael.
Ooh, 3.
3. Yeah. Aha.
Scale of 1 to 3, how iconic is this?
This is definitely a 3, really iconic. HSS Strat, a really classic design with a nice relic on it. This one did have a keychain to the body.
It did, yep.
If I can see that. So this is a collaboration between Kevin Proctor and John Cruz. So we have some new models of them. I think we have a few Strats. Let's see. S. As far as I know, these are produced in California. They are reliced by John Cruz. So we have a lot of Stratocasters in right now. They produce some other models as well. So keep a lookout on the website. You will see them over there, and there will be some more specs about the pickups as well. I don't know it by heart. But these are the new iconic guitars at our store. But I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards another iconic guitar that I saw today. I think my first choice of the day will be the J45, the stripped 46 J45. So let's grab that one more time. And yeah, you guys mostly like the vintage guitars, and I do as well. It's also nice, the fretboard. It's got these black spots on it. Every little bit of finish of this guitar was stripped. Though I don't see any cracks or whatever. I think the bridge has been replaced, as you can see here by the marks. There aren't any cracks that I can see right now, but we are going to have a closer look and go in there with a microscope and see if there's anything there. But this will be a really good sounding guitar in front of a microphone, I think. So let's go. All right, let's open some second-hand but quite new guitars, because I think it's nice to show them as well instead of all the vintage goodness, because sometimes you're just looking for a slightly better deal on a new guitar, and we have those as well. So this is a PRS Custom 24 from 2023 in a Fireburst finish. Yeah. Of course, you get the most incredible flamey maple tops on PRS guitars, and the Custom 24 is a staple of their catalog. This is in really pristine condition, almost no marks whatsoever. So if you're in the market for a Custom 24, then maybe this is a guitar for you. The Custom 24 is, of course, yeah, the most famous PRS model, I think, of all time, maybe together with the Custom 22, this one having 24 frets. Also some extra toggle switches for some phase switching or boosting. Splitting or boosting or whatever. I don't know what these switches do exactly, but it's a really versatile instrument. So yeah, the Fireburst Custom 24. Then I also spotted a Gibson guitar, also a quite new but second-hand Gibson guitar. Comes in this fellowship case. This is from 2016. Yeah, that's cool. A Cherry 335, also really popular second-hand guitar. So from the last couple of years, a second-hand 335 is really gone quite easily. Small blocks, just really cool. I prefer that over a dot on a Cherry 335 at least. This one has some more spots, as you can see over here. This definitely has been played a lot more.
Few scuff marks, but
few scuff marks. It's also had a few more years of playing behind it. So, but all in all, it's in good condition, and it's a really cool look. So this will also be up on the website pretty soon. Berend just walked in, so that means we're doing movie segment. So, Berend,
yes.
What's your tip for this movie segment?
Well, it's one of my favorite movies, and also of Daniel. It's Bram Stoker's Dracula. Great movie with very bad acting from Keanu Reeves and great acting from Gary Oldman, which is a beautiful contrast.
Don't forget to type in the R when searching for Gary Oldman. My tip for this movie segment is I rewatched The Boy and the Heron by Studio Ghibli. I think that was my first introduction to Ghibli. I watched that in the cinema on my own. It was the first Miyazaki that I saw. I was quite impressed then, but now that I rewatch and also have watched some other Ghibli films, I think this is one of my favorites. It's quite dark, and it's understated as well. I really love it. So go and watch The Boy and the Heron.
fun fact, it's literally the only Ghibli movie I haven't watched yet.
So,
yeah,
this tip is for you, Michael.
I will take it.
We're moving over to a vintage Gibson case. Ooh. We know the look of these. It has quite a long neck, wouldn't you say? This is a bass guitar. It's a Gibson bass guitar, and it's a vintage Gibson bass guitar, which is exciting.
I can see all the people shooting out right now.
Yeah, here's the drop-off in the analytics. Yep. Yeah, let's have a look at this. What is this?
It's a Beatle bass, but not quite.
Yeah, it's sort of a Beatle bass. So this is a EB1 from 1954. EB standing for electric bass. So the EB1 was the first bass that Gibson ever produced, and it was during a time that electric basses were becoming more popular. We saw in '51 we saw the release of the precision bass. So yeah, Gibson thought we would like a share of this market. So they only produced the EB1 basses between '53 and '58, and there was only a total of 520 something basses made during that period. So that's not a lot. So seeing one here, and I've never seen one before, so it's really exciting to have one in my hands right now. It is a violin bass, like Michael said, and it was actually Les Paul who is responsible for this shape, because Les Paul was really involved with all the Gibson production at that time. It was his idea to produce a violin shape bass guitar. Maybe he has seen a Hofner bass at that time.
Could be.
You seen the Beatles, maybe? Hey guys, Milo from the future here. I was really wrong. The first Hofner bass was released in 1955, so 1 year later than this Gibson. And the Beatles didn't play on Ed Sullivan until 1964, so a whole 10 years later. And that must have been when Les Paul would have seen the Beatles, so sorry. Then we have a pickup in the later reissues of this model. I think they produced them from about 1970 or something. The EB basses have a humbucker, but this is actually a single coil pickup, which is cool. And you don't see that too often on the Gibson basses. This was also designed by Seth Lover, another name that we see a lot during that time. Yeah, really cool mahogany body. It's nice that you also get the outline
Oh, yeah.
of the violin as well.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
So
the tuners?
the tuners, yeah,
That's
they
pretty
look like a banjo tuners. They have been replaced, as you can see. I don't know if these are then the originals or that these are the replacements. I may have to look into that.
If I hold it like this, like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Funny.
This is really cool. I think we're going for it. We're doing a bass.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's play some Beatles. An even older guitar case over here. Inside of this beautiful beaten up case there's a National guitar. Yep, there we go. Ooh, gold, sort of gold yellowish.
Faded gold.
Faded gold. We're looking at a Triolian by National guitar with the beautiful Hawaiian trees. Really looking forward to my holiday. But anyway, so the Triolian is a single cone resonator guitar by National. This is from 1933, and how do we know this is from 1933? Then again, this is only my research, so maybe when Colin is here tomorrow he will dive into this a little bit further. I think this is a 33 because in 34 they moved to a 14 fret design. This is still a 12 fret design. And before 1933, these F-holes were sort of punched out of the metal, so they were really sharp. And in 33 they changed to a sort of a rolled design, so there's a little bit more handwork going into that. Yeah, a beaten up National, like you see them mostly. I think it's cool that it's a sort of a faded gold, maybe sort of greenish gold, yellow. I think that looks amazing. Let's see how she sounds. Beautiful sound. The thing is, mostly with these Nationals is that for me it's a question whether they play nice as well, because I really like the National sound, but they have to play nice. I'm not really a square neck slide player, so it has to be a round neck that's easy to play, and this one is really easy to play. I really like the sound of this a lot. That's cool. When I talk into this, I hear it resonating. Maybe that's why they call it a resonator. Whoa. Next to that, a Fender. The first sign of a Fender this episode. This is a natural 1974 Stratocaster. Really cool. I like natural Strats.
I had a buddy in college who literally had a 70s natural. It was a 6 sounding Strat.
With a maple neck as well?
It was, yeah. It was literally this guitar.
So yeah, 70s of course. The big headstock with a bullet truss rod on it. We have a maple neck. Yeah, Fender Strats from this period are getting more and more popular. So the collectability year has risen. First it was late 50s, then 60s, and now 70s is in there as well. So they are getting more expensive, but this will keep on rising the following years. It's got a beautiful grain on it. Some say that they use the natural to cut some cost when in production, but I would say they had to pick some of the more beautiful pieces of wood to show the grain. I think this is nice looking. I like the combination with the white pickguard on it as well. Of course, the bolt-on with the 3 screws and a micro tilt for this period. Thinking back on the last couple of guitars that I opened, I was really charmed by the National. So let's do something different this week. So we have a bass, also a resonator guitar, not just the good old J45s. Though we also picked the J45. So what am I talking about? I don't know. Let's open this. There it is, a 33 National Triolian. Some Hawaiian music leading into our demo. So this is our photo studio. When everyone is back tomorrow, these will be up on this stage when being shot by Eva, probably. Let's see what is here. Oh, we were talking about Hofner. Maybe it's nice to open this one. Though this is not a bass. This is a Hofner guitar from 2007. This is a Hofner Very Thin. You may ask me, why is it called Very Thin?
Well, why is it called Very Thin?
There you go.
Oh.
Because it's very thin.
It is.
So they did a really good job on naming this this model, I think. Joking aside, the Very Thin by Hofner was their take on the ES line of guitars that Gibson was producing on the end of the 50s. So the first Very Thin that they made was in 1960. So they were definitely looking on the other side of the pond, what was happening over there. And I believe that these first Very Thins were immensely popular. So yeah, being made in Germany, they had a whole European market to claim. And I think they did. And you see a lot of Hofners, of course, in the UK as well. So they made it way over the water there. So this is a 2007 Very Thin. They also did some production in China, I believe, around the 2000s, or maybe before that as well. But this one is a master-made one in Germany. So you get a hollow body guitar that's very thin. 2 humbuckers.
Very cool top as well. The wood
Yep.
is pretty nice.
I think it's a cool ES design. So the horns are not as pronounced as on the Gibson guitars, but I think that's a cool look. Yeah, the finish is great as well. Sort of a little bit porous, which is cool. It's not as glossy. I believe I've opened this one briefly last week, and now it's here. So it's eligible to be in the new arrivals. This is the 330 that we're talking about before. This is the faded cherry ES 330 from 1968. So there was a pickguard there once. Yeah, I think it's really cool. This guitar, the look of it tells a story on its own. And I've said it before that I'm the biggest fan of the 330 design. Completely hollow. Really feels bouncy when you play it, and it's also pushing some air acoustically. I think they sound really nice acoustically as well. Maybe this one does. Let's check it out. It's just one of those days. Yeah, that is what I like about the 330. It's a mix between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. So when you're a singer in a band as well, and you're playing some strumming, it's just so great to play a 330 because it feels like an acoustic guitar, but you get the electric guitar sound. So it's a perfect blend for me. I'll leave it right here, and let's see what else is here. Oh, this is cool. A Martin, a Super D. A jumbo of a dreadnought, you might say. This is a Koa back and sides Super D with a nice,
lovely,
nice 3-piece back. So yeah, the Super D, I think it's also slightly wider. It's deeper, I meant to say. Slightly deeper, but it's also extended on here. So you get a really, like a jumbo guitar and a dreadnought shape. Flamey Koa on the sides on this one. Let's see if this one's in tune.
That's in tune and very big.
Wow. You must know this is a really dead room because there are curtains everywhere, but when I strummed an E minor, it's like everything was resonating in here. So, wow, this is really a cannon. This has to be one of the loudest acoustic guitars I've ever played.
It is.
And it doesn't take a lot to get a lot of volume out of it. That's what I find sometimes on jumbo guitars, but that's really not the case with this one. Damn. This is really...
Now you have a tough choice.
Yeah, this is a cannon, really a cannon. Shared number 1 on the top of my list.
Let's grab one more.
Yeah, let's do it. That leads me into another Martin guitar. This is a guitar that we've sold before. We had this in our store. It was sold to a collector, and I believe this collector is now thinning out his collection. So some of his guitars are finding its way back to us, which is exciting. Because it's always nice to see a Civil War Martin. This is a 126.
Is it Civil War or pre-Civil War?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. So the Civil War ended in 1865. And we have some clues that would say this was made before 1867 at least. So it might be pre-Civil War, it might be during Civil War. I don't know how many guitars were made over at Martin during the Civil War, but you can imagine one of the soldiers playing this by a campfire. It's just hard to wrap your head around it that this guitar is so old. So 1860s, this is just incredible. Have a look at this. It's a Brazilian rosewood back and sides. Some repaired cracks.
There's some interesting lining through the entire... Can you see that?
Yeah.
I can see very clearly. Beautiful.
Yeah, these lines.
Yeah.
Sort of like a flame, like a flame on Brazilian rosewood. We don't see that a lot. A pyramid bridge on it. So this was quite a big model at the time. So most of the guitars that Martin made were slightly smaller than this. So I think the 1 must mean it was the biggest. I think the 2 was smaller. And then you also had a 5, which what we now know is a terz guitar. So this was the biggest at that time, and now we know it as a small parlor guitar. One of these signs that we think it's an even older guitar than 1867 is also the stamp that's on the back of the headstock. You can see.
Hard to tell.
Hard to tell what CF, of course. CF Martin, Christian Frederick, if I'm not mistaken. And then it says New York, when the factory was back in New York and not in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Also a stamp here on the inside, don't know if you can catch that, but also says New York over there.
I can't catch that, but we'll have to take your word for it.
Really rare to see a guitar that's in playable condition today, because it's you can't really compare this to a parlor that was made just yesterday. Because the steel strings, if you put that on this Martin, it would just wreck the whole setup and maybe pull out the top. So you need some really low tension strings because they were made to have gut strings on them, I think. So I don't think these are gut strings, but these are sort of vintage correct, really low tension strings. Let's see if I can get some sounds out of it. Beautiful sound. Michael said it well. It really sounds like a blend between a nylon string guitar and a steel string guitar, which is interesting. Plays really well for a guitar that old. It's really a fingerstyle guitar.
Yeah. 3 guitars to choose from.
A 330, one of my favorite electric designs. One of the loudest acoustic guitars we've ever heard. A Super D. And then one of the oldest guitars. Yeah, I think we're going back in time, back to the Civil War. I'm glad we're out of it, but we still have some beautiful relics of that time.
Yeah, I want to hear what that wood sounds like.
Let's make a demo of this one.
Let's go.
Let's go. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of New Arrivals. I think we had some beautiful guitars to pick from, and I'm really happy with our choices. I think my favorite of today, it might be the Gibson Bass. I think it's just one of the coolest things I've ever seen in here. Michael?
Ooh, my favorite today, I think I'll go for History.
History.
For the History, I'll go for the Martin.
Back to the Civil War.
Back to the Civil War.
Thank you very much for watching. Please let us know which is your favorite down in the comments, or you can also vote in the poll on the community side of our YouTube page. Yeah, if you have any ideas for future videos aside from the New Arrivals, please let us know. We're open to any suggestions. And like I mentioned before, we can also make demos of guitars that you've seen on this episode, but that we not demoed in this episode specifically. You can shoot us a message and we can make a demo for you. And then last thing I wanted to mention, that we have a festival over at the Fellowship on the 21st of September. It will be on our porch. The porch of our store will be the stage, and it will be really great. We have Bertolf and Maurice van Hoek already announced. There will be some more names later this week, I think. I heard that the best band in the world will also be performing there, so keep your eyes peeled. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.